The biggest marketing shifts of 2026 are already happening. Most entrepreneurs are going to miss them, but you should not be one of them. I'm Shamar Star Cox, TV producer and content coach, well, marketing CEO. And I'm super excited to be doing the show with my girl Kwanda. We're going to be talking about the top 5 marketing predictions for 2026 and as well as some things that Netflix got going on.
Ooh, that's going to be really, really good. Hey, everybody. I am Quanda Renee, a digital ecosystem strategist. That's just a fancy way to say that I help you monetize your influence. So if you're somebody 10, 20, 30, 40,000 followers and you're not building your community and you're not making money, I'm going to be the girl to help you out. Super excited about our show today. We're talking about our favorite things, marketing, AI, and of course, Netflix just entered the chats. Okay.
Oh my goodness. When I was down, I think I was headed to Georgia or down in Georgia when I got the text or the notification rather that said that Netflix put in no, they didn't just put in, they bought Warner Brothers Studios for $83 billion. But I'm seeing different numbers online.
Yeah.
That blew my mind. $83 billion they bought Warner Brothers Studios for. Like when I think about when Netflix first started, do you remember when they were part of Blockbuster? And
Absolutely.
they were just trying to get their name out there, and Blockbuster was like, nah, we don't want to do anything with you. Now we don't know who Blockbuster is anymore, or where they are. And Netflix is investing $83 billion just to purchase Warner Brothers Studio. We grew up with Warner Brothers Studios. Like, how mind blowing is that?
It's crazy. Also shows innovation. If you think about where Netflix started, like they just had these little CD things and they took it. Blockbuster was like, oh no, VHS is the way. Now my kids, your kids, our grandkids are not even gonna know what a VHS is unless they go to Google and try to figure it out. It just shows innovation. It just shows innovation, and that's where we are now with this AI, right? We know that AI is up and coming. We know that AI is booming. So now is the time for us all to get in. Whether you got to figure out which lane you want to be in. Don't just jump on the trend of, oh, this sounds good in AI and this sounds good. No, you gotta go beyond that, because I've been getting a lot of people comment on my videos on other platforms, inboxing me just like, I just want to make money. I just want to make money. And I'm like, if that's your plan, then you're not going to make money. You have to go beyond making money. You want to build something that's going to last. Netflix, I can't remember how many years they've been around, but they've been around for a long time. Can you imagine having $83 billion just sitting right here and you can say, hey, I want you, you're mine.
So intentional too, right? Like Warner Brothers Studios is big for DC, all the DC movies that come out. It also is big for a lot of the CW shows that are out there too. And here is Netflix wanting to have their own studio. Like that's amazing to me. But Paramount was not letting that happen. They didn't care that the deal closed. I think it closed on Friday. Paramount now says that they went to Warner Brothers Studios with a cash offer. What was theirs? Theirs was higher than $180 billion.
Okay.
They went with a cash offer, but it wasn't the way that we think it. They weren't giving them $180 billion in cash. They offered them more. What was it? More stock. Yeah, so more stock dollars is what they offered over Netflix. And but here's the thing, they were already part of the table. It's just that Warner Brothers Studios chose Netflix over Paramount. And Paramount was like, I'm not letting that go down like that. I'm coming back. And they came back with a better deal. So I'm not sure if Netflix still has Warner Brothers Studios or if Warner Brothers is thinking it over. But Paramount was not letting it go. HBO also put in a bid for it too, but they
Wow.
didn't get it.
So if you think about it, if all of these major companies are wanting to connect, they see something there. They see that where Netflix can be. Netflix probably already knows where they're going to be in 2045. You know what I mean? So, and I'm sure AI is a part of whatever they got going on. I'm sure of it, because now um Netflix is allowing you, when you submit videos, you go through the process, and not just as ordinary people just submitting videos. Like when you have a legal team and you have, all of that going on, they do have something in their clause where you can add elements of AI. So that's basically where we're going with this. So it's going to be very interesting to see how this pans out. It's going to be very interesting to see like who is the final players in this game. And I'm excited. I've been following Netflix for a very, very long time, not just like a consumer, but actually the business model behind it, because I started an app a couple years ago, and one of the things is just like I would just go on Netflix and I'm like, I can totally do this. I can do this, and mine is going to be specific for Christian content. And I love how Netflix had, all the things set up. If you go back and look at my app, I don't think it's available to the public, but you go back and look at my app, or if I show pictures of it, you'll see it was very structured, very similar to what Netflix was doing, because I saw how they were positioning their content, how they were doing the headlines, how they were categorizing everything. And I was just like, hey, I can make this works for me. So I'm excited.
I love that. And so interesting. You said, your app and it was mainly focused on Christians. I found out this weekend. Now, I don't know how true this is, but I found out this weekend that the CEO of Netflix is a Holy Spirit filled Christian.
Really?
I know. Okay. I was like, wait, I think I need to be his friend. I swore off Netflix once they decided to not raise the price, when they decided to get rid of everyone being able to share. That was so annoying to me. And then I was also praying that it wouldn't work out, but clearly it did, because now Hulu's doing it, HBO is doing it, Amazon is doing it. And I'm like, clearly it was successful, which is so annoying. But to hear about their CEO and to hear about their move, like we just talked about them 2 months ago, that they did their partnership. What was it with not iHeart? What's the other one? The other popular podcast platform. I'm blanking. Spotify. They did their partnership with Spotify so that they can have podcasts on their platform. And now they're purchasing Warner Brothers Studios. That has to tell us something when it comes to film and television, but also when it comes to marketing. Like Netflix sees something that's coming down the pipeline. And for me, today we're talking about top 5 predictions for your AI and marketing for 2026. And one of the predictions that I'm seeing happening is more. I'm going to preface it like this and then go deeper. More storytelling content.
Mm-hmm.
Like I see more storytelling content. Now we say this all the time, and then we put out like behind the scenes and lifestyle content, but I'm really talking about micro dramas. Last week, the last time we spoke, we were talking about micro dramas and how it's now that's probably where I got the 1.8 billion from, nearly a $1 billion industry, right? And I can see Netflix jumping on to that as well. And so for me, as business owners, if we want to stay in the forefront, we got to disrupt something. We can't be putting out content the regular way. The talking head style is getting boring. Educational content is getting boring for people. The content that I see perform very well on social media all has to do with entertainment.
Yeah.
The influencers and creators who already have millions of followers, those are the only ones that I'm seeing are doing really well when it comes to educational content, right?
Yeah.
But everyone else, like if you haven't hit a certain status yet, it seems like the content is stalled. And so you want to move more into creativity. I feel like in 2026, creativity is really going to be the economy so that business owners and creators can really thrive.
Yeah, because we have to remember, like, we're consuming so much content, so we have to learn how to disrupt or break the pattern with the scroll. So you're gonna have to be more creative. What I also think with Netflix too, and I don't know if they're gonna do this, but maybe now that they have access to studios, it's more original content.
Yes.
And I think that's something that is going to be something to look forward to going into 2026 is original content. For some of you people that have influence, why not create your own original series and original content ideas and things like that to do to something different that's not being done in the algorithm. Like we always know, they always talk about, oh, do how to. Well, maybe you're gonna have to challenge that and do it more in a fun way where it doesn't feel like I'm getting an education lesson. It feels like, wow, this is edutainment, education and entertainment combined. So it's gonna be very interesting to see how this plays out. It's also gonna be great for the people that are embracing AI, walking in AI. Seen somebody in the chat saying they wanted to know exactly what AI is. Baby, this is what this show is all about. We talk about AI, we talk about ways to use AI, we talk about, marketing and content. So if you're a business owner, sit back, get comfortable, because we'll break it down.
Yes. And you know what? This was very interesting what you just said where we talk a lot about how to, but how can you make that really engaging for your audience, right? Not just always giving the tips to your audience, but how can you bake it in a story so that they want to hear it? And I'm not just talking about stories like, okay, this is a behind the scenes, right? This is story time. That stuff was nice. It was cute 2 years ago. But in 2025, that really started to die off. In 2026, I think it's really going to be using your creative insight in order for you to actually develop actual stories. So all of you who are storytellers, you write poetry, you write music, this is your season to really shine. There are going to be people who are reaching out to you just because you're creative, because they don't know how to do that. They may know how to build the system, but they do not know how to tell the story behind the system in order to get people to buy from them, right? I feel like I'm storming through these predictions, but my second prediction, after I just told you, man, I don't got any. My second prediction is I think that there's going to be a lot of sad out there. Sad is something that I made up, but maybe it's already out there. I don't know. Maybe I saw someplace, but in my mind, I made it up. It's called story ads. The world is tired of ads. There
Yeah.
is ad fatigue out there. How many of you watch YouTube videos and every 2 seconds there's an ad popping up in the most awkward area? You could be listening to worship music and the ad pops up. They could be in the middle of praying and the ad pops up. And I'm like, can we not figure out a better way to do this? So people are really getting tired of it. Social media, as you're scrolling through it, I'm not just talking about the ads that people are paying for. Even sometimes people's content can feel like an ad. And I just think people are getting tired of it. And so, I mean, that works for YouTube and Hulu and Netflix, for all those platforms. That's like, hey, just pay and then you don't have to pay more and then you don't have to see these ads. But for the rest of us who's like, I'm not doing that. That's me. I'm
Right.
one of those people. I'm like, I'm not paying extra not to see no ads. You just need to get better with your ad experience, right? Because ads don't have to be shoved down our throat. It could be an experience. And that's where I think SAD comes in, right? So these are story ads where instead of just the ad popping up, it's actually going to be integrated into the stories that you don't even know that you're being sold to. It seems like the ad is actually written into the story. So as the story is going on, you're going to be seeing like they're promoting something, but it's so natural. And then one thing that I like that Amazon's doing right now that I really want to do this is if you watch Prime, like I watch Prime, I watch Prime probably like every day, but they have ads and then they have a link to your Amazon cart. So you can actually put whatever they're advertising, you can put the item in your Amazon cart and check out. That to me is genius.
Yeah.
Nobody else can do that. Maybe Disney can do that if they add their store to it, but no one else has the power to do that but Amazon. So I feel like Amazon will really be in the forefront with their sales when it comes to something like that, unless someone decides to partner with Shopify. But like just seeing these things got my mind going like, oh my goodness, I want to enter this. Like I get so excited about it because there is a beautiful relationship between consumer and what's the other word? Businesses. Yeah, businesses and consumers. And we have to make sure that we keep that harmony because the goal isn't to get them to stop buying. The goal is to get them to keep buying, but not make them frustrated while we're promoting our services.
Yeah, I also think like for these businesses, that's actually another revenue model that they can add to their existing models. And I think that's another thing. And this is not part of the predictions, but it's like there's going to be other ways to monetize. There's going to be other ways to create revenue. So we're going to have to get very, very, very creative going into 2026. And I know somebody might be feeling like they're overwhelmed, like, oh my God, I got to do another thing. No, it's just adapting with the times. Now you have tools, you have systems to help you with doing all of these things. And so one of the thing or predictions that I would like to add is I feel like we're gonna kind of go back to a MySpace era. And when I say a MySpace era, I mean the communities back then, before it was really like social media. You had people like the Taylor Swifts that she used MySpace to build out her brand, right? Where she was communicating back and forth with her people. And I don't know if MySpace had DMs, but definitely in the comment section and, building and getting their emails and getting their text messages. And now she probably has a large database. I read somewhere that she still does meetups with these people that were with her since the MySpace days. So one of the predictions I would say is building these loyal fan bases, building these communities. That is going to matter because when you can bring them into your world outside of social media, outside of, all the hoopla and algorithms and all of that type of stuff, then baby, you gonna win. You gonna win. So one of the main, and that kind of is gonna lead me into another prediction that I have is digital ecosystems is basically where you still going to monetize whether you're posting or not. So the post is like the main thing. You use that to get the attraction, but you also want to get emails. You also want to get text messages. You also maybe want to do discords or score community. I mean, not score, school communities and things like that, funneling people in, and then you nurture them and then you continue to sell to them. So if Instagram or TikTok or YouTube or any of those went flat one day, would your business dissolve? If the answer is yes, that means you need to build your own digital ecosystem. So if nothing else, y'all, make sure you are getting emails, getting text messages, bringing people into your world. I had 3 million followers. One day my account gets hacked. The only thing that really saved my business, because I had an email list of like 50 something thousand people, and even that wasn't a lot. And then I had a whole text community. So literally, and the crazy thing is, I was such an advocate to tell people to build your own platform, build your own platform. And then I was the made example of, see what happens. So yeah, the two that I added was building your own loyal fan bases or communities, kind of going back to that MySpace Taylor Swift era, and digital ecosystems, making sure that you have a way you're funneling in traffic, whether you're offering a lead magnet, some type of freebie, and then once you get them in, you start to nurture them.
I really love that. And that MySpace era, like that really made Taylor blow up. Like Brendan Kane, he talks about it because he was her marketing guy during that time. She blew up so big just because she had that, right? And the thing is, like, people have been craving community for such a long time. So I can definitely see us doing that. Instead of just growing my following, really having a community where people can be engaged and they actually have access to you. Because what's happening is, the especially for those of you who are coaches and service providers online, but mainly coaches, right? Like the old way of doing the marketing where you could just put out the content, people join your coaching program, it's not working anymore. People want more, right? People are getting tired of purchasing an e-class and never doing it, first of all, right? So like those coaches where they sell 1 million e-classes and then the audience has no access to them, I don't see that surviving as much unless you were like a really big influencer, because people are getting tired of that. Like when I was in Georgia this weekend, I was having a conversation with someone and they were like, how many e-classes did you purchase that you haven't used yet? And I meet so many people who are like that. Like they just buy the e-classes because they're cheap, but it doesn't actually help them get transformation because they don't do anything with the e-class. So I can see a lot of business owners are really people buying, consumers wanting to get access to you. And I think those communities will really help. And then creating an ecosystem in order to sell to your audience, that to me is just genius, because you really do not want to rely on Instagram, TikTok. Like TikTok, especially the way that it's set up right now, like I'm not even posting as much on TikTok anymore. But I remember when they made the shift, they're doing a lot of like they created their platform for business owners so you can sell through the platform, which is genius, of course, right? But the biggest problem is, I don't know what the percentage is, but they take a lot of money from you when you are selling through the platform, right? And it's like you can do that, or you can build your own, where you can have your community there and you can sell to them and you keep 100% of the profits, even if you kept 98% or 75%. But I think right now, you can correct me if I'm wrong. Is it 50% that TikTok is doing? They keep 50%.
Well, let's say I put a class on TikTok. I think they get 70 and I get 30.
That's wild to me.
And it's because they have to pay Apple, right? They have to pay Google Play and all of that. So to me, in my opinion, it's not worth it. Like I saw one lady was saying she sells a $10,000 course. I'm like, I would just sell it for the 10,000. Use TikTok to get the people, but
Yes.
don't upload it.
Agreed.
They've emailed me like some weeks back, trying to say, you haven't promoted your class. I'm not going to. It wouldn't benefit me at all.
Yeah, honestly, like if you were going to use that feature, it's better if you do a low cost item. Let that be your lead magnet.
Right.
It could be $27 max. And the goal isn't to make money. The goal is to build your email list. But again, see, now here we go. This goes into cost per lead. Because if it's $27 for me, well, it's not costing me $27. But if I'm putting out an offer for $27, and people are buying it, but I'm only getting 30% of that, is it worth it, right? So you want to make sure that if you are putting out content like that on TikTok, that you are actually attracting high ticket buyers. Because if you attract the low ticket buyers and they get on your email list, they're not paying you $5,000. So your messaging has to be really, really on point, and your strategy has to be really on point. Which brings me to echoing where you said create your own ecosystem, so that you're not sitting here relying on these platforms, because anything could happen. Like for me, in 2020 all the way to 2023, my content was being pushed on Instagram and TikTok, and I was able to like grow my business to six figures, reach my audience, make lots of money. By 2020, end of 2024, 2025, I noticed my content wasn't getting pushed at all. So imagine me still trying to put my content out there, and that's my only source for marketing. Like, I wouldn't make any money. And I feel like that's what's happening to a lot of people. Like, social media is their only source for marketing, and they're getting stuck. Like, if you're someone who's like that and you're going through that right now, you can just drop a me in the chat. There's no shame here. I was going through it too, and I had to shift.
Yeah.
And that's what God is doing. He's calling us to shift. Like this weekend, I was at Dr. Cindy Trim's conference, and she was talking about. She actually gave a prophetic word that said, "For those of you who are in coaching right now, those of you who are in coaching right now, you're noticing like a dip in your um, business, right? It's time to disrupt. It's just time to shift. It's time to disrupt, right? So, okay, so let faith light the way, says me, right? So let faith light the way. It sounds like you're Christian. I'm just assuming because you have faith in your name. But if you haven't already, I would sit with God and I would ask him two things. It's really one question, but it's like a two-parter. And that is, what is my multi-million-dollar idea for 2026? Okay, so it's one question. I just put it all together, right? But ask him what that is. What is my multi-million-dollar idea for 2026? Okay, that's the first part. The second part is, how do I market it? Because that's the biggest thing. Like, we know that Jesus is a master marketeer. How do we know? Because he grew his following to millions and billions of people. He died, resurrected, and ascended to heaven. And he is still converting people to this day. So we know that he's a master marketeer. So you can ask him for your marketing idea. I asked him, he gave me mine. Quanda asked him, he gave her hers. So you want to make sure you do that as well, because you don't want to get caught in this coaching trap. I see coaching shifting too. Absolutely. I don't know to what, but I just see it shifting, and we shouldn't get caught and left behind.
Absolutely. I totally agree. And that's just where we are in the world. Is like, you can't be afraid to pivot. Like, I think about my life over the last 2.5 years. I had a very successful media company. You couldn't tell me that I wasn't going to be doing this and doing this. I wasn't going to have my building. I was the junior Netflix in my brain. And then the hacking happens. So now I have to figure out, what is God saying for me in this season? Like, it's not saying that is completely over, but the way in which I was doing it, that's over. The algorithms change, all of that, consumers change, and all of that. But now God put me in a space where he's like, learn AI. And this is before AI became so popular to where, everybody's using ChatGPT. I was using copy.ai years ago during the pandemic, when it was more so for bloggers to help me write blog content, right? And I didn't even understand back then that he was teaching me how to be able to communicate and talk to these things, or learn how to prompt. But that was because of where he's getting ready to bring me. So be open for a pivot. And also becoming disconnecting from things that don't work anymore. One of the things that we do sometimes is we'll become loyal to dysfunction. And if you notice the marketing you've been doing all year long, unless it's some type of spiritual thing going on, you've been doing all year long isn't working, that's a sign that you got to move another way. Maybe it's time you get connected with a coach. Maybe it's time, you start thinking about doing events or whatever it is. You just have to learn how to, when God says pivot, when it's time to turn. And usually you'll know it when the things that used to work in a season stop working. That's usually my sign. And I'll keep trying it. And then I'll be like, okay, obviously this thing is telling me this is not it anymore. And then that's when I move on.
And I love that you brought that up, right? Because there's some of you who are listening right now, you may be frustrated. It's like two of y'all frustrated, right? But the reason why what you have been doing has not been working this year, and probably even last year too, is because you asked to be a multimillionaire. You asked to be a multi-billionaire, and the marketing that you had back then worked to bring you to a certain level. But if you're ready to go to the next level, God has to shift you. You cannot do the same marketing that brought you to six figures, some of you high five figures, and expect to hit $1 million. That's just not going to happen, right? So your marketing has to shift. Is it painful? Sure. It's definitely painful, right? Like I think about the disciples when Jesus ascended to heaven, they wanted to stay in Israel and just minister the gospel there. But what happened? God allowed persecution to happen so that they can be pushed out. That's what's happening to a lot of you right now. You're being pushed out of your comfort zone. You're being pushed out of your city. You're being pushed out of the way that you used to do things because you asked God to be a multimillionaire, multi-billionaire, right? So that's just what happens.
Yeah, and I know for a fact, like what got me to six or multiple six figures is not going to be the same thing to get me to seven. So I
Mhm.
had to pivot. A good chunk of my revenue back then was Facebook, and we know those platforms change all the time. We know they don't really care about the security of their people. People could get hacked, and then they'll blame you and tell you your account is suspended and
Girl.
banned for something somebody else did for you, or your shadow banned for years because of what happened. So you never want to be dependent on the platform. And when it's time to go, it's time to go. When it's time to pivot, it's time to pivot. Um, how many did we name all? Did we do
No,
five?
I have one more. I have one more, but
Okay.
I wanted to read this person's comment. Change the
Okay.
channel 86 says, I'm realizing that God has to become my consultant, advisor for everything, especially business. You were one of the persons that helped me see that, Quanda.
Wow, that's so sweet. Praise God.
Awesome. So my fifth prediction is to leverage podcasts. I guess that's not really set as a prediction, but leverage podcast marketing. And here's why. Because you do not want to rely, as we were talking about, on social media marketing. The algorithms, honestly, is very risky. It's like gambling. It's
Yeah.
very like gambling. So one of the strategies that I had prayed for, God had told me how much money we're going to make in my business. And when I looked at the marketing, it didn't align with how much money we're going to make in the business. So I said to God, please send me a new marketing strategy. And the one he gave me was podcast marketing. Right. And so what happened was I started watching podcasts. I'm not a podcast person. I know that sounds very strange, but I'm not. But anyway, I started watching podcasts. And then God said to me after weeks of watching podcasts, he said, what are you noticing? And what I noticed is that every time someone is promoting a book, a new offer, or whatever they're promoting, even if they just got married, they are going to someone's podcast to leverage that person's audience in order to get them to buy. Now, I will tell you this, that is not new. The TV industry has been doing it for many, 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 many years. Every time a celebrity has a new movie being launched, they go on talk shows. They have news, was articles written about them. They're being interviewed by the news, like they're being cameos on so many different things, and that's purposeful, right? And so when I saw this, I was like, oh wow, this is not any different from the TV industry. Now, here's the thing: it can seem very scary and it can seem frustrating. And you might be like me, who's like, why can't I just put my content out and it just goes viral? Right. The thing is, when it comes to podcast marketing, is really developing relationships. That's the goal. The goal is to develop the relationships because you're not going to be promoting just one thing. You have an offer today in 2025, but in 2027, you're going to have a new offer. In 2029, you're going to have a new offer, and you're going to want to be able to leverage these relationships over and over again so you can leverage their audience. This weekend, I was talking to someone. She was launching a new podcast, and she said to me, what do you think is a way that I should do my marketing? And I said, other than you clipping your podcast, you should leverage other people's podcasts. Like, just go ahead and do it. It's one of the simplest ways to grow and get sales. However, it does take time because
Yeah.
if you have no relationships, you actually have to take time to build the relationships. But the best thing is, if you already know how to do marketing, then you already know that everything takes time to build relationship, right? So you can develop your strategy in order for you to do that. So there are coaches who actually teach this, right? And then you can leverage ChatGPT, but Chat only knows what you put in there.
Right.
It does not know what you don't know. So I see a lot of people who's like, I'm using Chat for my marketing. It only knows what you put in there. Because if
Right.
you don't know certain things about marketing, if I go to Chat, I'm like, what about this? And Chat's like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. I don't know why it does that, probably to keep us on our toes. But I see that a lot of people will be moving into podcasting and leveraging that. Netflix had brokered a deal with Spotify. TikTok brokered a deal with iHeartRadio. I can see more people brokering deals just to get those podcasts up and going. So just in case y'all thought it was dead, it's not. The other thing is, even though a lot of people still consume podcasts on audio, video, podcasts is really blowing up on YouTube in particular, because YouTube, everybody likes watching things visual. People are watching podcasts and other shows on YouTube, but on their TV.
Yeah,
Those of you who are still paying Cablevision and Verizon for cable, you might want to switch to YouTube because that's where a lot of people are watching content. They're watching it on their TV, so you can actually put out video podcasts and feel confident. On Spotify, they allow you to upload video podcasts too. So
right.
it doesn't have to be super, all these extra visual stuff, but it does help add to the content that you're putting out.
Absolutely. And I think YouTube now has a way where you could do collabs with people. So with that, you can leverage their audience and your audience and, do episodes with people that make sense to something your audience can benefit from and something their audience can benefit from. So even though that wasn't one of our predictions going into 2026, but collaborations would be a great thing. I also think the thought of being omnipresent, the thought of having some type of content going, working for you when you are in Tahiti or when you don't feel well and you don't, you can't go live or you don't post content. So thinking about that, like I think a great thing that you did is that you have your own AI co-host. You can create a bunch of content for her and have her just keep going and holding that podcast down while me and you up in Florida somewhere just chilling. Okay. So I think thinking about things like that, omnipresence, that 24/7 content engine. And that's the great thing. I see a lot of people doing videos about twins, AI twins. I think some people are just doing it for the aesthetics and to be cute, but the digital CEOs going into 2026, we're doing it for more than just to be cute. We're doing this to save us time. You can literally go clone yourself in something like HeyGen and literally boost out content. I don't know how long your workflow takes when you're creating your stuff. You can get more into that if you want to, but like you can literally probably take a few minutes, either record your audio, upload a picture, allow HeyGen to put it all together, and then boom.
That's so good. Two things. I will talk about my process. This 24/7 content engine, that's exactly where we're going. Like, this may not be a 2026 prediction, but it is definitely a 2030 prediction. This is why so many people are moving towards AI because we got to crank out the content. Now, back in 2020, 2021, they were already saying crank out the content. So we already knew that we were serving a society that was super hungry. But now that AI has made it a lot easier, you really do have to crank out the content. It sounds exhausting, but it's not when you actually leverage AI. And of course, if you have a team, that makes it even a lot easier. But a lot of the bigger influencers and creators, the reason why they're so successful is because they're able to put out a lot of content on a daily basis, right? Like, I'm posting on Facebook right now 4 times a day, I'm growing very quickly because I'm posting 4 times a day. I'm able to see like what type of content is actually working with my audience and keep on putting that out too. Right. So it's really important. But I do see us doing that 24/7 content. I do see us moving towards that 24/7 content. And the other thing, what helps with 24/7 content is the fact that you don't only have to reach people in your area, not just in the US. Like, if you're putting out content at 3 o'clock in the morning, you're reaching people in Africa, you're
Yes.
reaching people in London, right? So now it makes you international and omnipresent, just like Quanda said. And when you said omnipresent, it automatically made me think about Jesus
Mm-hmm.
because Jesus is omnipresent. So we should be like that too, on this internet, in these internet streets. And you can do that by leveraging AI. So I thought that that was super genius.
And
Uh,
I think the internet was God's way of showing us what omnipresent looks like. When I used to be very heavily into my podcast and doing podcasts, one of the things I used to always say is I love the fact that I could be in Kenya, California, Atlanta, New York, without leaving my home. And that is one of the benefits of podcasting. I also, and this is not part of our thing, we're just kind of flowing with this. I think these 24-hour live streams,
yeah.
right? Treating your YouTube channel or even your app as your own personal TV network that can continue to flow. I seen somebody the other day, they were doing a 12-hour podcast-a-thon, and basically they must have been taking a bunch of their podcast episodes and going, having them go live. And now you got a bunch of platforms that you can, purchase, and it'll allow you to do it. And all you got to do is load up your videos and it'll handle the stream for you. So there's no excuse. It's just going to be having to figure out what works for you, what do you want to do, and what your audience is going to connect with.
Oh, I like that. And when you said like 12-hour live stream, 24-hour live stream, it actually brings me back to live. because at some point live content, and I'm not talking about content, I'm talking about TV shows. Live TV shows was really taking off. I used to work at A+C Networks where they had live PD. And when I tell you that show took off, people like they would tune in, and we'd have videographers and like a whole team out in different areas just shooting live for like 3 hours, 6 hours, and people loved it. Right? It died down a little bit because of all the speculation when it comes to cops. But I can see that ramping up again because for some time the TV industry has been trying to figure out how to leverage live, and so if content creators are able to do it, best believe someone's going to get a deal out of it, right? So I think that that's super important. I do want to read two comments. Chanel says, the kids are doing 24/7 content for subscribers for 30 days straight. Look at that. Look at that.
I love that.
And then Change the Channel 85 says, if you schedule posts at a different time zone than you, does the algorithm still push to other places outside of where you're stationed? I feel like it may depend on the platform.
I don't think the algorithm really cares about the time. I think it's all about the content. You know what I mean? What's being said, what the algorithm is hearing, what it's reading, SEO and all of that. I don't think it really matters about what time of day.
No, yeah, it doesn't matter. And the other thing is like it is reading who your audience is, right? So if you already have an African following and you put out content at 3 a.m., then they're going to see that their time at a decent time, as opposed to you putting it out at 6 p.m. and they're asleep or something, right? So that's what we were talking about with posting content 24/7. They can tune in at any time and see your content. That's what we were talking about.
Absolutely.
There was something that I had wanted to say. I don't remember what it was. But this is a good conversation. I'm really enjoying these predictions. I didn't think we had it in us.
But it's like once we get together, it's just a flow. It's just a flow. We actually gave y'all more than 5. If you go back and watch the replay and you slow it down, we gave y'all more than 5. And there's way more, but this is just what we see happen.
Yes. I put 6 in the chat, so I'll go ahead and read them to you all. If you're taking notes, if you're not taking notes, it's cool. But top 5 marketing predictions. The first one is micro dramas and creative storytelling, really leveraging that so that you can be in the forefront. If you're talking about that you want to go crazy viral, and that was what I was going to say. Now that we went back to lives and stuff. What these TV industries are looking for in order to partner with creators is they're looking for high quality content at a low cost. Like that's what they're really looking at. So you'll notice in 2026, 2027, 2028, and some 2029, there's going to be a lot of creators that are getting their own show because it is high quality but low cost. Like in the TV industry, when I was growing up in the TV industry, it used to cost hundreds of thousands of dollars, even millions of dollars to create movies, to create TV shows. It used to cost so much just to have a studio set. And now people have created their own studios in their homes. Like this is my home studio right here. Let me see. Ignore the laundry in the back. Right? This is my home studio right here. I guess it's kind of messy. I could clean it up a little bit. But there's a lot of people where they have their own home studios. We don't need to pay for a studio. We don't need to pay for a location. They have their own home studios that are set up. We have our cameras. We have our lights. We just shoot the content and then we release it. So you're going to be seeing a lot of people getting new deals because it's high quality content for low cost, right? So that's going to be very, very interesting. All right. So the predictions again, micro dramas and creative storytelling, SAD, that's story ads, right? Even if that doesn't go for 2026, I can see it like building its way up as the micro dramas continue to build up. Number 3, we said building online communities, creating an ecosystem. Number 4 is creating a digital ecosystem in order to sell to your audience. That's number 4. And then number 5, leverage podcasts for marketing. And number 6, collaborate with other creators who have a larger following than you. I just add that one there because that's really helpful.
Yeah, I love that.
Awesome. You have anything else you want to share?
No, does anybody in the comments have any questions? I did see some people say they were joining late. What we're talking about, marketing predictions and AI predictions going into 2026. We talked about Netflix and their new deal or bid, whatever they want to call it. We're just in a great day. I just feel like, especially to the people that believe in Jesus, like the wealth transfer is here. It's not coming. It is right upon us, right? And it's just a matter of who's in position to get it. Either you're going to be on the right side of history or on the other side. And I already know which side I'm going to be on. Okay. God prepared me all the beatings I had to go through, all the suffering I had to go through just to get here. Thank you, Jesus. I'm teasing y'all, but seriously, like, we're in a great day. I'm super excited. Me and Star was talking about was it the weekend? Over the weekend about 2026, and I'm just like, girl, we in there, like swim where? It's time. It's time. It's time. And I'm just glad that when it was time to pivot, we were open to a pivot. And I also believe that God divinely connected us for a reason. Like, bouncing off. That's another thing. Iron sharpens iron, y'all. Get you somebody you can share ideas with. My prayer was, God, send me. Okay. That was my prayer. Send me somebody like me who like marketing, who's a geek. And I looked over and that's who I got.
I love it. You said either you're gonna be on the right side, and really all I kept hearing was either you're gonna be on the rich side or the broke side. Which side y'all gonna be on? Because we're gonna be on the rich side. If you're gonna be on the rich side, drop rich in the chat. If you're gonna be on the broke side, sign off the live right now. We don't like talking broke people. That's contagious. I think brokenness is contagious. I don't.
Absolutely.
Richness is also contagious too, but I just want to stick around rich people. So
yeah, and it shifts your mindset as well. Like, I remember when I first started, getting into a new circle, and I would go in the store with them, and we'll be at Phipps or Lennox, and I could see them spend, $1,500 on a shirt, and I was just like, at least that now I know it's possible, right? And so that just that encouraged me. Like, if somebody could spend that and not flinch, you know what I mean? Like, that really encouraged me. So getting around the right people, the right rooms. You know something crazy, and I don't know if this is a theory, but I feel like scents are something too. Like, this weekend I was cleaning up my house and I changed my plugins, and it's like ever since I got these new plugins in my house, that scent just changed my mood. Okay, you can't tell me nothing that I got a good smelling house. So I think scents, being in the right. If you ever think about when you go in luxury stores, a lot of times they always smell good.
yeah,
I think it's something there. I don't know the science behind it, but I think it's something there.
it does. It triggers memories, and it can also trigger visions. So those scents are important. Like I think about the movie Anastasia. I love that movie, by the way. The cartoon version, not the. It's okay. It's the cartoon version. But she used to smell her grandmother's perfume. So when she smelt it again at the very end, she was like, she lost her memory for many years. But when she smelled her grandmother's perfume at the very end, it automatically triggered who she was, the memory, and all those things. So those scents really are important. So I love that. Yes, I see people writing rich inside the chat. Change the channel says helps to embody the identity you want. That part. I almost asked you if the scents smell like money.
It's actually lavender, but in my brain, it's
lavender.
a rich smelling house.
That part. I love lavender. I have lavender plugins as well. That's my favorite. I put it all over the house. The scent is amazing. I love lavender tea. Like, I love everything about lavender.
It changed my vibe for sure. It really changed I don't know, this weekend I was just like skating on hills and decreeing and declaring in my house. It was like a shift happened in my house just because I changed the plug-in scent.
Yeah, I actually want to pray over the audience because I'm feeling very strongly. Some of you are not positioned, but you need to be positioned. I feel very strongly that I'm positioned for the wealth transfer. Everyone's been talking about this wealth transfer coming for the last 2-3 years, right? And I used to think to myself, am I ready for this? Like, am I positioned? And I think since last month, I really felt it. Like, I'm positioned. I'm ready for the millions. So let's go ahead and do this. I'm ready for the clients. And my body is not afraid of the money or the people. I may think to myself, like, oh my goodness, how are we going to service all these people? But at the end of the day, we're going to get it done, especially the amount of pivots that I had to do this year. God has brought me, I don't know if I shared this story with all of y'all yet, but June 2024, God had told me, I'm sending a famine to your business to get rid of the leeches, to expose the leeches. That's what he said. Now, in my mind, I'm like, why are you sending a famine? You can't just tell me who they at. Just point them out. Like, that's what I'm thinking. But no, he sent the whole famine. And by the end of 2024, I had to let go of most of my team. By March of 2025, I had to let go of all of my team. Jesus. Like, the money got so low that May 2025, I said to God, I don't even have enough money to pay myself. Like, if we don't start bringing clients in. And after that, God told me the famine was over. And a week later, I booked 4 clients, right? And so we've been increasing ever since the famine had hit us. And so, what was my point? This is what happens when you don't tell the point. You
Wealth
just
transfer, you're positioned. I know you started with that.
oh yes, okay. So I so I was like, what was I saying? Right. So anyway, after that famine, God had given me a vision. Well, not a vision, it was a dream. I fell asleep in my couch and I had a dream that that same couch was going up on a roller coaster and it just kept going up, 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 up. And you know how when you're on a roller coaster, you can hear it like creaking up, up, up? That thing never went down. I said, thank you, Jesus. We are going up. But here's the things that happened. In July 2025, I sold $1,000 seed into someone's ministry. In August 2025, I asked God for a multi-million dollar idea and he gave it to me, right? I know that came because I also sowed that seed too. That's the other thing. Like some of y'all be out here not trying to tithe, not trying to give to charity, not sowing. And that sowing unlocks your mind.
Oh
I
my
know
God.
some of us probably we don't think that way. We just think it's just money that we're giving. It's not true at all. It unlocks your mind and it unlocks it unlocks a realm. I remember the first time when I decided to start tithing 20%, God showed me why my money wasn't growing. Here's the thing, I was tithing at 10% for many years and I was good. But when I decided to go above and beyond, God was like, well, you just unlocked something. And so he showed me why the enemy had access to my money. I still would have been fine if I was just tithing 10%. But I'm happy that I decided to go above and beyond because then something got unlocked and he showed me. So it happened again. I sold $1,000 seed and something else got unlocked. What was it? The multi-million dollar idea. I was fine doing what I was doing, right? Status quo. But you know what? It's now making me think of that story when Elisha the prophet was dying. It's found in First Kings, or Second Kings. I can't remember which one it was. Elisha the prophet was dying, and there was a king that he always gets the word from Elisha on where they need to go, what they need to do, how they need to win the war, right? And so he went to go see Elisha on his deathbed. And Elisha told him, if you bang the arrow on the ground three times, then you will win, right? So the king, he bangs the arrow on the ground, 1, 2, 3. And Elisha's like, why did you stop at 3? If you would have did it 5 times, you would have utterly destroyed your enemies. Reading this thing, thinking to myself, but you told me to do it 3 times. So he did it 3 times. But it's a lesson in going above and beyond, right? Like a lot of us, yeah, we tithe the 10%. That's cool. But if you tithe the 20%, what would you unlock? If you sold $1,000 seeds, $5,000 seeds, $10,000 seeds, what would you unlock, right? So I did that, and God gave me an idea. He gave me the multi-million dollar idea. I sold again into another ministry, and I'm waiting for the next step that God's going to give me. Actually, nope, I sold again into another ministry. It's another 4 figures. And God said, your financial status has changed.
Jesus.
I said, Lord, you better come through.
Have you ever, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, I'm just waiting for the next steps, but you unlock destinies and realms when you sow above the tithe.
Yeah, I was gonna say, have you ever heard, I think it's Dr. Trim, her story about her first $1,000 seed she sold
You
it.
told me.
Yeah,
You
she
told
sold
me.
it
I was
into,
mad too. I was like, I sold how many $1,000 seeds? I ain't
yeah.
seen
So
this.
Dr. Cindy Trim, shout out to you if you're watching. We love you. You just never know. But she sold $1,000 seed years and years ago into a man named Mike Murdoch. Mike Murdoch always used to be on Christian television talking about wealth, 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 wealth. He's somebody that knows wealth. She sowed that seed. God gives her an idea to write a book. That book turns into $1 million of sales. So there is something about the seeds when you sow, especially $1,000 seed. I remember during the pandemic, I sold $1,000 seed. Within 2-3 months, I hit multiple 6 figures. It just blew me away to see all of that coming into my bank account just from me sowing that seed, even though I sowed seeds in the past. But it was something about that seed. And then also I sowed into, this is when I came into covenant with my spiritual parents. I sowed that $1,000 seed and my life took off. Like I am one of, well, I'm not gonna say I'm the only one, but I'm one of their testimonies that like, they know when y'all want to talk about seeds, give Quanta the mic, because Quanta will definitely tell you like, it was just like, boom. And the amazing thing too is my spiritual father too. I would always come to him with like, oh, I got this idea, or I want to do this. And he would encourage me to do it. And I'd be like, oh, I'm gonna wait until then. He'd be like, no, do it now. And so even that, having the right people around you to say, no, do it now. The time is now. Don't wait for this. Don't wait for that. So it does unlock a lot of revelation. It unlocks, opportunities and things like that. So y'all, so when I was in poverty, broke on my parents' couch, I was sewing at like 12, 13%. They thought I was crazy, but I was just like, I'm trusting God that this isn't my end. I know sometimes people talk about tithes, people talk about sewing, and you shrink back and you're like, no, but I'm telling you, if you want to unlock something for real, you truly reap what you sow.
It's so true. And that poverty identity is attached to you because you haven't tithed or you're not tithing at a certain level. Like when I was giving this big tithe, well, this seed I was sowing this weekend, when I was sowing it, I was praying to God. I said, I am killing the poor girl identity once and for all. Once and for all. Like the poor girl identity was telling me, don't sow because you're not going to have enough. Now, let me tell you, I tithe all the time. My tithes allow God to provide for me. I know that for a fact. I never have to worry about what I need ever, right? What I want though, I mean, he covers that too, but there's some things that I want. And I'm like, well, I'm just going to go above and beyond, right? I'm not going to be sitting here worrying about if the pastor's stealing my money. That's why some of y'all not tithing right now. One of y'all, you're coming on the replay. You're not on right now. You're going to come on a replay. They talking about tithes. I need to sign off. I'm not tithing because so-and-so pastor ran off with their money. This is the thing that God showed me when it comes to tithing. You are focused on the wrong thing because it's not about the person running off with the money. It's about, will you release the money?
Yeah.
God's going to take care of the person running off with the money, but he's addressing your heart posture right now, because even if they didn't run off with the money, you still wouldn't give. Right. And so for me, you want to make sure that you are moving with currency. That's the whole point of currency, right? It flows. So it shouldn't stay in your hand. It should move. The other thing is you want to make sure that you are sowing seeds. And if you sow into good ground, you're going to be able to reap. So for me, I don't be worrying about like where the money going. I just be like, oh, you saw when I gave, right? That's what I be doing. You saw when I gave? All right.
Exactly. For me, it's worship unto the Lord. What they do with it, that their blood is on it. I don't care. I'm doing it unto the Lord. So
that part.
And one thing before we go, or before you pray, I remember watching somebody that used to be a part of the occult. And he said one of the things that they would do is during the offering time, they would send out these thoughts so people would think that the pastor's going to steal the money. Don't sow, don't give. They purposely come together to do that. So
that's so good. I heard that same testimony too, but it makes you understand that money is spiritual.
Absolutely.
Because why would they do that during that particular? They're not doing it during worship.
Right.
They're not doing it when they're preaching. So that lets you know that money is spiritual and it's attached to something. Like I said, when you sow above the tithe, you unlock destinies and realms. That's spiritual, right? You're unlocking ideas. Now, here's the thing. What some people don't understand is what we mean by spiritual. Ideas live in the spiritual realm. They get unlocked when you tap in on a certain frequency. When you give, you get to tap in. But if your heart is closed off to giving, if your heart is closed off, you can't receive no more. So there's no way you're going to be able to tap into those realms. Now, we are not telling you to tithe to us. Yes, I do have a ministry that you could tithe to, but not once are we telling you to tithe to us. Go tithe to your home church and ask them how you can give above and beyond the tithe, right? Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. So change the channel. 86 says also decluttering, cleaning house, literally. Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. So I'm going to pray over everyone. Oh, yeah. Chanel says tithing creates the space for money miracles to find you. That part. Some of y'all blind in the spirit. The money can't find you. No matter how much content you put out. You're like, how come I'm not making no money? Because they can't see you. You're invisible.
Yeah. Going into 2026, anybody with that type of mindset, you have to start thinking about the wealthy version of you. The wealthy version of you doesn't think like how you currently think. The wealthy version of you doesn't treat money the way you treat. So it's almost like ascending. It's going beyond where you are for where you hope to be. Thank you, Holy Ghost.
Good one. That's so good. All right. Let me pray for all of y'all. In the name of Jesus, we just thank you so much for allowing us to gather in this space. Lord, you have souls that are watching and listening and waiting for you. Right now, we have 10 people on, but we know that there are going to be people who are watching a replay too. So even those who are coming, oh God, you can see them in the spirit. You know exactly what they need. Their hearts have been troubled by what the news has been saying, with what's going on with the economy. But can you please remind them that because they are a child of God, they are under the kingdom economy? It doesn't matter what the president decides. It doesn't matter what the city or the states decide. We are under a different economy. And if you were able to thrive when Caesar was king, then of course we can thrive no matter who is king or president in our countries, oh God. So we thank you right now and we walk into your kingdom and we accept the kingdom privileges of wealth. And right now, Lord, I ask you to download multi-million dollar and multi-billion dollar and multi-trillion dollar ideas into your people. For those who are afraid and their heart is closed off right now, show them exactly what they need to do, what they need to release so that they can hear from you clearly plus confidently. There are some about 4 people who need to leave the ministry that they are part of because it is a dead ministry. And doesn't matter how much they sow into that ministry, whether it's time or money, the ministry is not going to grow. So whoever those people are, oh God, prickle their heart so that it can actually leap for them so that they know. And then I ask you to show them where they need to go. There are some who have been praying over their businesses over the last couple of years. They have been in a financial deficit and they're considering going back to a 9 to 5. Lord, will you show them what is the direction that you
Jesus.
do? Whether it's for them to connect with someone. I see one of you, you actually just need to connect with someone. So ask God who that person is. Ask them what community that is. Oh, that's what it is. One of you, the people you're surrounded by is keeping you down. In your face, they're smiling, but they're talking so badly behind your back. Those word curses are binding and you can feel it. There's sometimes you feel tired. You don't even want to get out of bed. Those are the friends and some family members that you are surrounded by. If that's you, ask God, how do you let them go? And then join your new friendship circle. So we just give you thanks for that, oh God. We give you thanks for the visions that you're downloading into your people right now. Some of them are seeing themselves on stages speaking. Some of them see themselves in front of high-rise buildings. They're waving, they're smiling, oh Lord. This is part of their destiny. They do not have to be limited anymore. They get to break free from all the challenges that they're experiencing in this world, thinking that wealth does not belong to them, but it does. We just give you thanks because you're a faithful God and you do not desire your people to be broke, mainly because wealth gives us options and it makes us powerful that we can be able to bring things on earth that have been held up in heaven for so long. So we give you thanks. We ask you to continue to bless this podcast, continue to bless my girl Quanda and her hands, oh God, and everyone that she blesses and touches, and the same with me. In Jesus' name, amen and amen.
Amen. Oof.
All right. Yeah, y'all should
Oh,
be
that
free.
high rise. I don't know who that was for, but I saw it.
Okay. That part. That part right there.
We did go to church tonight. And that's typically, we really don't do that all the time. So I know that was God for real, for real.
Yeah, that was when we talk about money. I'm like, some people struggling on here. I could feel it.
Yeah.
I know because I used to be there too. Amen. Yeah, I see a lot of amens, and it was for me. Accept it and walk into your calling. That's the other thing. Like when someone prays over you, when they prophesy over you, and it's for you. Accept the prophecy and forget what the enemy is saying. Because
Yeah,
he's always going to show up and be like, that prayer they said was a lie. They just said that. That was just a general prayer. No, that was yours. Walk in it.
exactly. I I remember when I got my I think my first millionaire prophecy. A year later, lost everything. That's how I knew that prophecy was real, though.
Yep.
Like
Exactly.
that confirmed that that prophecy was real. Anytime it looks contrary, maybe and then that's when you got to go harder in your faith. You got to go harder in your believing. Because the enemy is going to. If you, let's say your family, y'all always been broke, y'all always been trapped in poverty.
Mm-hmm.
The enemy doesn't want somebody to come on the scene and be like, you know what, we're not doing this any longer. He's going to try to derail. He's going to try to stop. That's why a lot of us who are the generational curse breakers or the first millionaires in our family, we get the most hell. Yep. He don't be worrying about them other people money. We get the most hell because he knows what we finna walk into. So I'm ready. Thank you, Father.
I'm ready too. Yes, awesome. Thank you all so much for joining us tonight, bearing with us. We'll be live again next Tuesday at 6 p.m. Eastern. For right now, we're not having any classes because it's the end of the year and we're celebrating the holidays. But you can feel free to catch my podcast, Wisdom to Wealth, with the first ever AI co host. You will have lots of fun. We do talk about wealth and money. So if you're allergic to it, don't watch the podcast, but share it with somebody. Kwanda, do you want to promote Mina or your page?
Actually, you guys, if you're not following me already on here, follow me on here already. I would like to, I don't know what my number is on here, but I would like to get some more followers before the end of the year. So if you're not following, make sure you follow me. You also, if after you follow me, you can also click the little link and you'll see some of my classes that I did do this year. You'll have access to the replays and things like that. Cause I'm not really prepared tonight to be like, oh, this is my link. So you just follow me, y'all. Just follow me.
There you go. Follow her. She also has a wonderful AI singer. Is she on TikTok or do you post? You're posting her on your
I
TikTok?
haven't known. I've been holding her back because
Oh,
ever since Timbaland been posting me or whatever, I've been getting a lot of people like
okay.
inboxing me. People claiming to be in the music industry. So I'm waiting for the right moment to be like, boom.
Well, that's why you got to follow her because if you don't follow her, then you're gonna miss it. Don't miss it. All right, y'all have a wonderful day. The links will be inside the description. We'll see you next Tuesday.
Bye.